Hey friends, it's me, Cynthia, and Azalea. She's standing to
In
one
the background,
side.
hello.
So we're at home in North Carolina in the wonderful mountains in Asheville, and boy, is it good to be home. It seemed like we were in Tucson
For years.
forever, but it was only a week. It's hard to be away from our cats. So anyway, we are getting things packed up, getting things organized, and divvying up our selections and things that we purchased in Asheville. And if you've purchased some of our bundles and some of our sets and things, those are being packaged up right now. We've been working on it ever since we got home on, what's today?
Today is
Sunday. What did I do? Oh, thank you, Vicky. She says, welcome back. Yes, it feels like we've been gone forever.
Show it.
Show it, she says, show it. He is not in the mood. Look at his face.
He doesn't mind.
He doesn't mind. Oh, hello. Hello, Karen. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have a few more things we bought in Tucson that we're going to share. We're still divvying up our bundles. So if you got any of the bundles, that is being carefully bundled out now. So I don't know if you know what that entails, but it is a lot of counting and a lot of looking and picking. And I high grade the bunches. So what we do is we get the whole strands out. All the strands come out. And we count them all up, count them between the different bags that need to be packed. And then if some of them are cracked or if some of them have like a weird, like, you know, like some flaw in the bead, take that out. And so that takes a while. And I go through all of them with my optivisors on. And we've been looking at so many beads today. I told Azai, I said, I'm going to be seeing beads in my sleep and staring at them all day long. Oh, thank you. She says it. Vicky says I look rejuvenated.
It's the power of a cat's love.
It is the power of a cat's
Look
love.
at this action.
Oh, hello,
He's got the hat
Kalite.
on.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our magical, happy Sunday fun time magic hour. That was a little awkwardly done. We had a great time in Tucson, Terry. It was such a good, it was so healing. And you know what? One of the best parts of going, in my opinion, because you know what? A lot of times you can shop anywhere and you get to the point where you know your vendors and you can just call them or you can email them and they can send you stuff. But the very best part of being there is seeing your friends, you know, that sense of community. And I tell you, was it healing or what to be with Kate?
I love Kate.
Oh, so good. So many friends. We ran into Jean from Beads of Courage, Katie Hacker. We ran into her at Gem Mall. We ran into our friend Linka. I haven't seen Linka in probably 12 years. I see her on Facebook and stuff, but it's not the same thing. You know, it's not the same thing as being in the company of your friends and having that bond together. And, you know, you have history. I've been going to that show for 26, I've gone 26, this makes 27 times.
That's insane. That's quite the trek.
I know. There a couple of times I missed it. I think I missed one time when
You missed 2020.
well, no, we went.
We went in 2021. We did not go in 2020.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Look it up. Look it up. In 2020
Everything was shut
in
down.
No, it wasn't. Donna, she's gonna argue with me. I promise you. Oh wait, I got it. $50. $50 says I was in Tucson.
Shit.
Because I was there. They talked about shutting it down. 2020, we were at that because things didn't start happening until that February, which I think I brought home.
Oh no, it was not.
COVID myself at that
Sucks.
time. And, you know, that was horrendous. So, but, you know, when it hit me, and I think, I don't have, at that time, there weren't any tests or anything. So, you know, we just went and we thought, hey, what's this feeling? And we drove. It was a long haul, really long. Oh, Kate is wonderful. I just started following her. And you. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good time. You know what, Lisa? Tucson is fun and it is tiring. And you know what? It's insane. That's what it is. Because I wasn't even working a show and it still knocked me down. Still. Because there's a lot of stuff to look at. And I don't know. I saw Jamie Yoshida, you know, from Bead Gallery in Honolulu. And she had a pretty good way of her analogy. She was like, you ever go to the farmer's market and you're choosing your fresh fruit and how you choose it and how you pick it up and you look at it and you test it? And I was like, yes. And she goes, that's like bead show, but you have, like, you're choosing. And I was like, yeah, it is kind of like that. And then she had another good analogy, which was, and I thought this was perfect. She's like, you know how there's different cuts of meat? So sometimes you get like filet mignon, sometimes there's ground chuck, and within the same stone you can have all those things. And that is the truth. So anytime you look at stones, some vendors will have A grade through triple A grade, which is like the nicest stuff on there. And most times that's only like this much of it. Like if you have a great big stone, now I took a picture of a huge piece of turquoise. It was like this. Azalea was standing next to it for scale. That's how big this piece of turquoise was that we spotted at one of the shows. And there were pockets of brilliant, like insane blue. And this is just this big chunk. And then other parts that were like kind of a cloudy blue. Some of it were more green, some of it more blue. But it had, if you looked at it from a distance, it was a big chunk of turquoise. But on closer examination, you could see that there were areas. So a lot of gem dealers, what they'll do is if there's one super primo spot like that, when they say gem grade, that means that's the stuff that is triple A. So it's like they grade gems on clarity. So this is like how clear. Obviously, if it's an opaque stone, that doesn't count. Like turquoise, they're not looking at clarity. They're looking at color for something like that. And then the other thing that they're checking for is if there's inclusions, and that means when you see like little flecks or little shifts of color. And when you have that, that will give you your grading system. And so when we look for stones, I am like a total rock hound. My face, I'm trying to quit this, but I can't stop. I look at the ground all the time. And anytime I go on a walk, I'm like checking the stream beds, I'm looking. And you find stuff. You find things all the time. Around these hills, you find garnets just right there in the creek. They're like little tumbled. I mean, they're not like, whoa, look at this dark red garnet. It's more like, it's dark red, and it's really kind of a tumbled, looks kind of like an octahedron sort of shape. But it's not like, I mean, if you did find it, that'd be, that's nice. But sometimes you find them, like I found kyanite just the other day, and I have a rock cutter so I could cut it. So in theory, I could cut my own rocks and find them here. I find quartz and things in my pockets by the end of every single walk. Is like it's like all the cargo pants, they're sagging down in the middle because it looks like, I don't know, somebody would say your diaper's full because it's full of rocks. My pockets are full of rocks. And sometimes I buy stones when I go to Tucson. That's the fun part, is buying my own rough so I can cut it myself. But it is really hard to explain to someone, hey, I had to buy this rock right here, this specimen, and they weighed it. And when you cut a stone, you're not reimbursed for all the stuff that's cut off of it. That's just the cost of, that's just, you're going to cut that off, doesn't matter. And you may have, like, I found this rock the other day. Look, this is a piece of, has mica. And what I'm going to do with this is I take a hammer to it, and this will shatter into a bunch of pieces. And what I can do from this piece is I will get black. See that? That's black mica right there. And I'm going to use this in my pigments, in my paint, and in my, if I want anything glittery, this is where I'm going to get it, because it feels good to me to have this process, to find stones that are in my woods, and to include that into my artwork. And it feels kind of magical and like giving me a sense of connection. But there's also, in this same piece, you can see that there is, looks like, I have to put my optovisors and look, but there's like an amalgamation of just, it's like some of this is really soft. It's probably, not quartz, but limestone. There's a little bit of calcium carbonate in there, and it's I'd have to dig that out. But it's the same thing with gemstones, So when you're weighing, if you buy a specimen, or if a rock cutter that you see these guys walking around with the suitcases. You've seen them. If you've seen the lives we did at Tucson, and especially at Gem Mall, and especially at Keno when we were trying to do that, people will buy rough and then take it to their cutter and then have it cut to whatever they want. And that's when you see like really unusual cuts. Somebody's having those made. And just within this last few years, I have found cutters that are willing to make my stuff for me. And it's a really fun time to get that stuff. So I'm like, what a time to be alive. I have people saying to me, Cynthia, what can I have made for you? And I'm like, let's see. And so I've been when I was on the plane and any chance I had, I was like, what kind of stones do you guys want to see? And so I was drawing up different stone ideas, and I'm going to try and have them made. Yeah, we were at Ava's show. And see, Anne's backing me up. She goes, it's 2020. Oh, my friend Hobie. Hello, Hobie. It's one of my all-time favorite people. Well, we'll see you soon. We're working on some wonderful puppet projects. Oh, thank you, Nilda. She saw that purse. Oh, it was fun to have the purses Azalea's been using. She used my bag because she's like, it holds everything. It's like the TARDIS.
3 balls of yarn.
3 big old bunches of yarn. Yeah. You know, Terry, one of the things I'm reading this about the bunches and the bundles is that we had been going to African Village, and the reason we started making those, probably, I don't know how many years ago, is I would see one of my favorite dealers, his name is Bully, and I'd be like, hey, Bully, what do you got for me today, Bully? And he's like, oh, I know what you're gonna look at. And it would always be these big, juicy, they're like this big, they call them moon beads, and they're old. So if you see a strand of these, say you're at a thrift store, you never know, because I've seen this happen. A friend of mine actually got a super expensive strand of beads. My eyes were bugging when I saw this. We're somewhere in like Albuquerque, and she had shown me a strand that she found at a thrift store, and that was like a $400 strand of African beads. I couldn't hardly believe it. But anyway, I was like, just sell me one. I just want one of them. And the beads are like this. They're like 400 years old. They're like nothing else. Even if you wash the heck out of it, it's still, even without that patina, they're gorgeous. They call them moon beads. And usually people will have them. And if you do see them at the shows, anytime I see them, it's in this architectural digest where people put the whole strand, and they'll just hang them on the wall as like artwork. But after that, we were like, you know what? We're just going to split strands. And I'd been splitting strands with my friends for years. And it's only been in the last like year and a half when I kind of opened that up and said, you know, some other people might want to be able to get on this if they can't afford. Like, you're looking at this strand we saw. You remember that one strand we were looking at? So we saw some of these melon cuts, and some people price them. And again, prices vary on stones between dealers, between, you know, like the quality of the stone. And so sometimes you'll get ruby and you're like, whoa, how come this gal had the strand and it was marked down 70%? And I did the math and I'm like, okay, so this is still with the discount, $2,500. And I held it up and they were perfect. But I mean, you'd have to sell each bead for like $60, and that's not even full. I mean, that was just splitting it, not even considering, hey, you need like your time in splitting, your time in getting it all. So sometimes you can't, you know, it's like almost you'd have to make it into a necklace and sell it, you know. Hello, oh, our friend Laura. Hello, Ruth. Yes. Robin, thank you guys for showing up and being here for us tonight. I really appreciate it. It really makes my heart so happy to see so much support for our events when we used to have, from our very first ones. Do you remember when we had like 10, 15 people, and now we're up to almost 70? We're on StreamYard, so we're streaming from different places, and so it's just really amazing to see like our group grow so much. It's really amazing. Yeah, I see a comment from Mary. She says when she was a child, she used to go to a jewelry store near Asheville where the owner cut the stones and set them. They still have those up in Franklin. You can do that. And they have enough Like, you can actually find stuff. They have a bunch of those find your own rubies and emeralds, and you could actually do that. But anymore, like, boy, I don't know that you would really have to find, like, to cut it, you'd have to find a big one, because otherwise it'd be like really itty bitty. Oh, our friend Nile. Oh, oh, thank you, Nile. He says he's learning a lot from me. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. I am happy to be home. I am so happy. We did at one point show how to do rock cutting. I have my lap grinder, and I was showing people how to do it, but it makes this horrendous noise. It's kind of like a dental, it's like a dental drill. So we were like, how can we do this where I could still talk, but that would be silenced. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I haven't figured that out yet, but it made the most horrible sound. So we didn't do that again. We are going to, if you bought any kits from us or any bundles in the last few days, we are still going through everything, and it's all like spread out all over the house, all over the table and everything, and we're packing it up, and it's good. I love seeing what we bought. It's been so much fun picking, and I'm so glad that you guys have been choosing things from us, because then we can pick more. That's the beauty of it. It's just one of those things that it's kind of fun. I've been shopping a long time in Tucson. Sheree says, have you ever used the jewel tool? I have. Kate has like 10 of them. I don't know why she has so many. Oh, I know, she taught classes. Anyway, she has a bunch. I was thinking about getting one because they have the best part of the jewel tool. I'll tell you the best part is that there's a machine that hooks up to it, and it sucks up all of it has a vacuum attachment to it, which is, man, that is like part of the best part, because when you're working with stones and grinding, there's dust. A lot of dust comes up. But the downside to that jewel tool, I think, is that the fittings, they have these small fittings. They're like, it's almost like a Dremel tool where you can pop them on, you twist it, and then you can go. And it's small. They're about that big, the surface area that you can use. And that's pretty cool, because you can take from a rough stone to this. Like, you could take this piece of mica and you could shape it on their most coarse setting, right? It's like really coarse. It's a diamond. It's very coarse. It's the step one. And then once it's in the shape, you go down to step two, which is a little bit finer. And if you've ever buffed your nails with one of those buffing things from Sally's Beauty Supply, it has like it's called mirror finish, and you turn it and you use each side and you get it to your nails are like glass. It's the same concept. So you keep going down and down and down into finer and finer polishes to do that. Now, with my lap grinder, I'd have to switch it out, and mine is pretty easy to switch out, and it has like the discs are about like 8 inches, so I have a bigger surface area and I can cut bigger things. But mine was, I want to say it was like $600, and that was like 20 years ago when I bought it. So all I've had to purchase for are the discs, and it's pretty good. It's lasted. If you can't afford a jewel tool, it's called a Ameritool. They're made here in the States, and it's pretty good. But it's it's not as fancy as the jewel tool. It doesn't have a vacuum system. I just take mine outside on the back porch, so you don't have all those, like the powder. And it also has a drip, see. So the jewel tool is not water cooled, which if you don't have that water cooling, sometimes, like if you wanted to do something that was hard, like anything with a Mohs of 7, that's like labradorite, sunstone, lepidolite is a little softer, maybe a 6, and like mica is like a 3, where you can scratch it with your fingernail or so. Like soapstone, those things are really soft. Those would be good, but it has that vacuum system to suck up all of the dust. Now, with traditional lapidary, you have like a little drip of water, and I'm going to share this video to show. It was pretty crazy, this new machine that somebody had invented to slab cut with like 4 types of saws, but it had water pouring down. And so I took a video of it. I was like, what's this? It was pretty cool. So that's the thing, is that you have an issue of the dust. And even if you don't have like some way, you have to make sure you have ventilation, even with a vacuum, because there's still residual dust that's going to be in the air. And if you breathe that over time, you're going to have like respiratory problems. And when my sister and I, way back when, we had this thing where we were making, or actually she was doing most of it. She called it Stones of Power, and she was making beautiful carvings and selling them at the shows. But she stopped because she was having respiratory issues. So, oh, Glen Ivy Spa. Hey, Kate. Kate's with us today, Azalea. They
Love you,
went
Kate.
to a spa. We would love to go. We love a spa. Who doesn't? Am I right? So good. So anyway, we had a wonderful time in Tucson, and we still have stuff. We have a few more batches to show you. We found some really good deals. One of the things that we found was that some of the deals were a little harder to find this time. You had to really dig deep, and you had to kind of, you had to be like, remember me, who I am. Sometimes they would forget who you are, and that you're like, listen, we've been doing business for 20 years. Come on now. What are we doing? So there's a little bit of that, but that wasn't happening in African Village. If you saw that, there's a different vibe for each of the shows. And, like sometimes I think because Tucson is, somebody was like, Tucson's back, baby, because it was like it used to be for years when we went. You could not get there without someone, like you had to stay. Like it was so expensive. I mean, Kate, we were talking. Remember, Kate, when we were talking about being in that townhouse? We rented a townhouse, and it was like a 3-bedroom. But Sheila and I took the fold-out cot in the living room, their fold-out couch, and then there were a couple bedrooms upstairs. But it was like packed to the gills. We were like 8 women sharing a house, and that made it where it was just like it was not too expensive, but it was still a little bit expensive. It was pretty expensive. So, oh yeah, that vibe was good at African Village. We had the best time there. And it's always like that. That's the fun thing, is it's always like that. Sometimes we wanted to go, like you can't, when we went around Gem Mall, oh man, we were getting looks. I told Azai, I said, I'm keeping an eye, and I'm going to keep myself, I was putting my body, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but some of the vendors were giving me, they were like, don't you come over here with that camera, because they're real protective of their carvings. I'm not sure why this is. I would think you're trying to get more business, but that's just me. Some of these people are real scared that you're going to take a picture of their like worm on a leaf, like that one lady, she lost her mind, and then you're going to take it to another stonecutter and be like, copy this. But you know what? If they bought it, they could still do that. So it doesn't, it don't make any sense. If someone bought, they could actually just buy it and then directly hand the piece. So to me, it doesn't sound like there's much logic and reasoning in that, that kind of thought process. So anyway, when we were at Gem Mall, there were a few people giving us stank face, and so I angled myself. So I told the people before we started, we were like, listen, we're doing this, we're shopping for our friends, that's y'all, so that they, it's not like we're just sitting here copying designs, which is not, I'm a metalsmith. I'm not going to be, trying to rip off their stone carvings.
You don't need to. You can come up with your own that's better. What the heck?
Our friend Tom said that you can do a voiceover. Yeah, I know, Kalite. Showing it during a live is like a free commercial. That's what I saw. I was like, what are you doing? It seems silly. Seems so silly. Oh, you like my earrings? These, my friend Jess got them for me for my birthday. These are from Mexico. I'm not really sure where in Mexico, but they're stamped. And I had this idea that I wanted to do my own designs like this and have because they're really light. Like I can't make them this light unless I get a completely different machine, which would be like, Kate would know this. There's a machine that you could put that in there, and you can, you get that you anneal the metal, and you could make like 10 million of them. But I don't have that, and I totally would love to find a way to make my own, because I have some ideas that would be really good. Oh, Robin says, oh, hydraulic press. Yes. We did. My sister and I, when we were first taking jewelry, we had access to a hydraulic press. And man, we put that thing to use. It was so fun to get in there and make. She made a, I don't know how she did this, but we asked it, oh, it was of the copper plate. You asked it etch, just like you do if you've ever taken, what's that called? Printmaking. Intaglio, you scrape out your design or you draw your design if it has wax on it, and then you put it in this bath of acid, and wherever the wax is applied, the acid would bite around it, so it would make like this. It would make like a mold essentially, and you could run that through, and it would press down, and you would get images, and you could use it till the end of time. So the same process works with metal. You just have to anneal the crap out of your metal and get it to where it's cherry red and it's soft. This works with silver, copper, think with gold. And you could run that through the hydraulic press and you'd get pretty nice, sharp images. The difference being you couldn't run that indefinitely. Your mold, because it would be made out of like zinc, would only have like a lifespan of maybe 5 times, you know? So let's see. Oh, thanks, Sandy. You know, I don't think that was a cultural thing. I think that gal, somebody had said, she goes, I think that she might have been wanted by the police. That's why she didn't want. Because I, at one point, aimed the camera back and showed the booth. And she was sitting there. And I think it might have been because she was in it. And she might have had a warrant out on her arrest. Who knows? We'll never know that. We'll never know. Oh, I don't know if this, someone's saying it's happy birthday. I was like, what month is it? It's because I'm a Scorpio. My birthday was in November. I just turned 50, so it's someone else's birthday. Whose birthday is it? I'm not sure. All right, I'm going to get ready to flip this camera around and show you all the stuff that we have for the remaining. You know, one of the things that that happened is I went through the rigmarole before we left of setting a bunch of sapphires in wax, and there was a mishap where some of the silver that we were recycling was actually pewter, because a lot of times you'll look at silver and you'll look at pewter, and since our pewter is it's like very good quality, we don't put anything weird in it to make the colors, you know, we're not putting, some folks will put zinc, and zinc makes you, like for me, I don't want to breathe that. I don't want to breathe in any nickel because we're making them right here downstairs, so we're not going to put anything in there that's going to give us a headache. So, oh, we had the same birthday, Karen. Mine is November 21st. Wonderful. All right. So anyway, that's that silver and the pewter that went in and contaminated it. All this stuff lost. And so I was trying very hard not to be upset about it. But what do? You just got to keep moving forward. And sometimes when that happens, you have a day where things aren't working out. And it's really easy to focus on the negative and be like, well, all right, I'm going to get this. All right. Oh, hello, June. Let me get all these cords out of the way. So many cords. So many cords. All right. Here we go. I'm going to show this for a second. Get this all cleared out. I just did this thing where I swept everything off the side of my table for some reason. That was very dramatic of me. All right, so this happened, and I was so sad. So look at this. I'd set a sapphire, and one pewter piece got into the mix, and look what happened. I lost all of these beautiful things, and I had to remake them when I got home. So the moment I got home, I started remaking them. This cannot be saved because it has the chemicals have been altered. They've been melted together. So this is pewter mixed with fine silver. One pewter piece was accidentally thrown in the mix. So I can't reuse any of this silver. And look at all the sapphires that I'm going to have to toss. I might be able to get one or two of them out, but sometimes it's almost more work to dig that out. You know, look at that when I tried to get that one out. And, you know, because it's really brittle. Let me see if I can just demonstrate how this came out. Yeah, it's silver nor pewter should do that, and it became super porous. So that was like a huge loss as far as my time and silver. And now I will hopefully be able to save some of these sapphires that went in there because I used my favorite ones. Look at how good that blue one is. That was a nice good one. No, Colite, these cannot be sold. This cannot, none of this can be saved. Oh, there's one of the sapphires. I dug one out. So I dug one out of the 8 that was in there. And that took me like a minute. So this one cracked. So that can't be saved. But what, you know, sometimes that happens, and that's just how it is, you know. This is what's left of my sapphire collection. I bought these probably 24 years ago. This was triple this parcel was I bought, it was a kilo. And now this is probably like, if I measured it's probably like 400 grams. But if you saw our gem mall thing with Sona, that was where I got that from our friend Ruhi. Her dad was one of my very, very first dealers that I used to get, well, I still get cabochons from. Oh, do you have those ones, Azalea? We could show them.
I have mine that I took out.
Oh, I found some good ones. Where's it? So look at this. I got a good price on these. I'm going to set them. Yeah, that was so much. It is such a waste.
Away, but that is mine.
This is the one that Azalea got. And they give us some pretty good deals. They weigh it. The way they do it is they get the scale out. And this is a really good gem. This is called gem quality. And like I was saying earlier, like you can buy citrine. You can buy strands of citrine for, you know, probably the cheapest I've seen it is like $10. And that's pretty good. But usually those beads are like this. They're a little bitty. To find something that's this large and that's like that perfect, the stone itself had to be probably, I mean, you can imagine like the waste that they had to toss to get just this juicy part. It's a really perfect one. And so they put all the information there. They give us a pretty good deal. $2 a carat is pretty reasonable. A lot of times we saw a place in Tucson, they were asking $5 for a carat on amber. And I was like, listen, y'all, don't forget that's tree sap.
Oh no, we can tell the details. We were at Jogs and they tried to charge a whole thing of bracelets for $343.
Azelle was like, she's gonna toss that down like it was a snake that was trying to bite her. I was like, Azelle, yeah. She's like, that's ridiculous. I was like, I know. Sometimes people want to mark stuff up, and that's their right. I mean, we don't know. It might have been a different batch. I mean, amber, the way they find it is pretty labor intensive. This is called star sapphire. I mean, ruby. Now, all of those are corundums, and every time I do, I always want to say that other, like, conundrum. But it's the same makeup. It's a Mohs 9 on that scale. So it's really hard. And I've cut rubies, and boy, do they really wear out your discs when you're grinding. You don't get as many. So I try to, like, if I'm going to grind stuff, I like to grind turquoise or labradorite or something. And I'm going to set these. You guys have seen my settings before. I'll do a cast set for that. So, and look at that. They gave me $1 a carat in those. Yay! Do they have stars? This one did. This one did for sure. You can kind of see it. It's not as like, if you can look, you can see it easier in sunlight. But this one, since the light, they're LED points. It's shifting that so it's harder to see the stars. This one I got for Azalea. She picked it out, and the star in that, they call them that. It's because the light hits it, and the layers of the way the stone matrix lie, you can see it gives it that. It's kind of like fiber optics. It's like natural fiber optic. I know they are really beautiful. It's so beautiful. Bonnie, we just got home. And it's so good to be home right now, let me tell you. So anyway, this happened, and I'm going to have to go through the rigmarole of breaking out this. I picked up one of the nicest stones, and I remade this one because I love it. So you'll see. It's set in there. This is called cast in place, by the way. You can't cast in place some stones because they're too soft. Like you could never cast in place rubies, or opals. Oh, we did enjoy. Okay, let's see. Let's start with something, little daughter.
All right.
We're going to start with some silver.
She got tangled. I was just finishing stringing up the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, she's stringing up some more of the pieces. We'll be sending out everything during this week. So I think I showed this a couple days ago. When did I do that wax work? That was like 3 or 4 days. Well, no, that was last Sunday when I showed wax work. So if you saw that, this was one of the seahorse mermaid that I made. And it's sort of like a one-off because I took the mermaid from the mold and I added to her hair and I doctored up her tail. So she's kind of like, she's very different from the other ones. So this one, are you ready to get down to business, little daughter, to write these?
No, I have to go get my phone with the StreamYard on it. Just show it.
Okay, so I'm going to show this. We're not ready. Azalea's not ready
you can
quite yet.
Because I can join in and see the comments.
Okay, so this one is $50, and it is, it's hard to read the pink. That's the only reason I kept giving Azalia. I was like, do it in another marker color because the pink is super hard to see. Or maybe it's just
dark red.
I'm going to try and clean the lens real fast. We'll see. Give me 1 second. Sorry. That might be my lens. Let me see if it helps. It's still kind of hard to see. That says 867 and it's 50.
It's best when you read it to them anyway.
I know, but I'm just saying that I want to use black Sharpie. It's not hard when your eyes are young and fresh. That's the thing. And there's only one. I just did this one. And she's detailed on all sides. I know, Kathy, it really is difficult to read. If I had a Sharpie over here, I could darken it. Let me see what color this one is. 867. There we go. All right, so that's 50, lot 867. And if you're watching this on replay, here's how it works. If you like something, don't comment over here. Send an email here. Now, I might not get back to you with anything, and if you don't hear Matt back, you probably did not win it. So we only have one. And to make this fair, we thought we would just do when we get the first comment that comes in, that's how we do it. And so we'll give people like a week or so to pay their invoice. And if they don't,
5 days.
5 days. And if they don't, then it goes back into the pot for the next time. Usually that we don't really have that often of that happening. But, and here's where it's strung. You string it in the back in her hair, see? There's a little spot there where you can put it, and it hangs like this. So it's kind of invisible. I was looking around for something if I could demonstrate that with like a chain, but I do not see something laying on all this mess of my desk. And by desk, I mean kitchen table. All right, what's the next thing? Oh, this is that water clear. I love it. So I have a little bit of a passion for water clear quartz. People probably think it's wacky, but I love it.
And every time I read about it, I read all the time about stones. I love reading about them. It's like perfumes, all their different properties and where they're found and what they're supposed to be good for. Quartz is supposed to be an amplifying stone so that when you put it with other things, its property is to like intensify the actions of the other ones. That's just what it said. I love it because it reminds me of Victorian pool of light pieces, which the whole point was to capture. And when they're in the sun, they refract light. And so that beauty to me is especially good on these microfaceted. I got a really good price on these, and I have these at $8. This is $8.66. I'm going to write that a little clearer. And I have, let me see how many of these I have. I have 5 of them. $8. They're water clear. They're beautifully drilled. That hole is so good. Now, I look at, when I'm buying beads, here's how I look. I look to see, and my friend Laura Belkin, she taught me this. She taught me this. Do you remember this, Laura? You're like, line them up. And when they line up, are they all even across? If anybody's are hanging down or like weirdly shifted, they're not drilled exactly across, they should move. And so you check them, make sure they're clear or they're the same. These are. And I have 5 of these. These are great. I have another size. I don't know if I got around to processing those and counting them. But any of the, if there were any cracked ones, we have one cracked one. I didn't put that one in there. But these are perfect. And I cannot wait to use these. These would make just incredible earrings. And for that price, listen, that's a steal right there. That's a steal. Here you go, honey. Oh, this is Azalea's pick. These are really good peridot. Now, they're not AAA quality. Now, what AAA we talked about was when you get like the juiciest, clearest stones. That's 3 A's lined up. This would probably be, since they're so big, they're not as clear. So the price is reflective of that. So these guys are 8.
I love
They're
them so
not
hard.
super, they're not like the juiciest, but they're not also, they're not, the color is good. So that's what we're looking at here. The color on these guys is good. They're not washed out. They're really juicy. They're beautifully faceted. The hole is big. So you could easily put that, you can thread these through nylon. You could get a double strand through there easily. And that's what I intend to do with, I kept one of these bundles for myself. And if you can see that this is the thickest soft luxe they make. And look how much room is in there. That's enough. That's plenty of room. Kimberly says, what size are these? These feel like a 10 mil to me. I had a little, let me see. I have a little ruler in my activity kit that I take with me. Ever wonder why my purse is so heavy? This is why. Here we go, because I carry everything in there. Yeah, that's a 10 mil. Yeah, these are good. I love them. I'm going to put them in my treasure necklaces. They're beautifully faceted, and that I got a really good price on them. So that's 8. They're $8 for this bunch. The lot number is 872. So remember, don't write your if you're watching on replay, don't write it in the comments. Email it up here, and I'll let you know if I have any more left. Oh, this is a fun one. These are fun. So this is green amethyst, and you probably can't see it. Probably looks like on screen, it looks like quartz, but there's ever so slight, like a sea foam minty color in there. And this is called praisiolite, when it's that green amethyst. And this went through a huge kick like 10 years ago. People were all the time talking about that green amethyst, green amethyst. And then it kind of went out of popularity for whatever reason. And sometimes that happens when the mines kind of give all that they can give and they don't find another pocket of it. Some things that's like never ending story and you can keep finding it over and over and over. But this one kind of fell off the radar for a while. You didn't see it for a while. And when we found these kind of simple cut chunks, they kind of reminded me of ice, like ice and sea foam, but they're really clear. A lot of times when you'll see this, it's slightly foggy. There's a little bit of like almost like kind of like how milk glass has a touch of white. This is very clear, and I was really happy to score some of this. We were really delighted. We picked, now when we pick beads, when Azalea and I pick it, the gem guys, they laugh because they're like, oh, you bought gems before. Because what I'll do is pretend like this is the gems. When they're showing me a hank, I grab all the hanks and I'm like practiced in this. Or like, I was like, give me a white tray. So they hand me a white tray and I line everything up and I spread them all out. And I look for the color. If there's some that are kind of dull, those immediately go out. If some are kind of like weirdly shaped, those go out. If they're like too, like there's the like black or too much of a junky part in it, those go out. And what's left would be the perfect strand. And then I'll be like, this one. And they're like, well, I see you bought stones before. Because a lot of times when you're buying stones, they'll mix AAA quality with 1A quality. And it's your job to go digging. And sometimes people will do the digging for you and you won't have to go through there. And in that case, they'll be written on the tag. It'll be like AAA grade, praisiolite or whatever. A lot of times it's not though. So anyway, that's $18. It's $8.71. If you'd like some of this, if we have, I think 5 bundles of this.
Is that what it says?
Yep. This is one of my favorite things that we found. So what I did was I found strands of this tourmaline. They came like this, right? And the other one was like this. So I blended these strands together so that you would get 4 of these, and 1 of these weirdo orangey mustardy ones. I don't know what the story is with this, but I love these. And they kind of remind me of like those berries at the wintertime, like bittersweets. It's not really bittersweet color, but that's just what it reminds me of. Anyway, these are really pretty. I got a fantastic deal on them. So I'm going to write that a little bit bigger. All right. These are $12. I don't have a ton of them. I have 7 of them because I kept some for myself. $8.70, $12. So now they're pretty good quality. This is black tourmaline here. You rarely see this. A lot of times when they do black tourmaline, they will do it in a kind of a nugget because it's not as sparkly as spinel. So it gets kind of that, it's not as popular. One of the things that I liked over the years is hearing how when you look up the metaphysical properties of the stones, black tourmaline is the stone they call to keep the crazy away. And so it's supposed to, they use tourmaline, the stone, in like the parts in radios and things. So I don't know. Is there truth to it? Who knows? Do crazy folk, if that's politically correct, I don't know what the politically correct way, the keep the crazy way, if that actually works, but that's what they say. This is really juicy, however, and that one, the one oddball in the gang, is perfect for, I would think, like, I would put that in a treasure necklace. That would be a good transitional bead between like sunstone and a ruby. That's where I'd put that. But these would make good earrings. Those would be paired up as good earrings. You get 2 pairs of that if you want it, and 2 pairs of black tourmaline. So that's actually, for that, if you were to weigh that, that's a steal right there. That is barely marking that up. All right. Oh, Karen says she has one in her purse. I need to do that. I need to carry one in my purse. All right, we got a good deal on this. We found some nice grade of garnet. And whenever I buy it, I like to find out where things are from, where it comes from, if they expect to get more or not, or what the story is. They didn't know much about this. This is some really nice, beautifully drilled, beautifully faceted garnet. I got a good price on it. So this is $8 for this delightful little bundle. Just a taste test. The holes, they're big. So these would be a perfect candidate if you're learning, if you want to do double strand knotting, pick these guys because there's a lot of bang for your buck here. You could put this on actually thick wire. You could get 20 gauge wire through that. So if you're practicing wire wrapping, this is a good one too. And that's a great price. How many do I have? 5 of them. And the color, I'm reading on my screen. Now I'm looking at an iPhone. My iPhone, the StreamYard screen is about 2 by 3.5. It's really small. So I don't know how that's coming across as far as the red, but in real life, they're very juicy.
Wine colored for sure.
Facebook user. So right now I don't see your name. If you could give StreamYard permission, unfortunately I have to do that every time because I have to give them permission. It's kind of annoying. So if you let them know, or you could put your name in the comments so I know who you are. And if you've never gotten anything from me, please email me up here, this email, so that I know where to send the invoice. We use Shopify and that tracks the order and everything. So it's good. Oh, raspberry jelly. Yes.
Last gemstone.
Oh, Gwen says, show the garnet with the peridot, please. What a wonderful idea.
That's me doing that.
That's what I would do for sure. Now that's speaking my language. Oh, stop it. Yeah, that looks good. Delicious. Now, this is one we had, Cherie, remember how you told me that you were interested in Larimar. So I went through the show and I found some Larimar that I thought looked like Larimar and did not look like blue lace agate, because sometimes the Larimar can look like blue lace agate, and blue lace agate is kind of not that expensive of a stone. So you don't want to be paying and it looks like blue lace. You want it to look like what it's supposed to be. At least that's what I think, if you're going to pay the money for it. So I don't know if y'all have ever bought it. There were a bunch of dealers at the shows. At the Pueblo, at the roadway, we saw a lot of dealers. But what I kept seeing was it looked really washed out and really white. This seems like pretty high, but this is actually a very good price considering the quality of these stones. These are beautifully drilled. Look at that hole. You could drive a truck through that hole. And then look at that color. And they're faceted. How often do you see Larimar faceted? Larimar, they usually do like smooth rondelles or rounds. That's the general way that you find Larimar. That's how I found it. Sometimes they do cubes. You'll see a lot of cubes, but these are really top quality. This is really good grade. Now, this one has that little spot of red. I picked ones that looked like Larimar. Larimar has that. If you get Larimar that's one color all the way through, you might as well just go get yourself some blue lace agate and say it's Larimar just to yourself, because that's what it looks like. I mean, the properties of it are supposed to be like the magical properties. I don't quite remember what those are supposed to be. Do you remember, Azalea? We looked them up.
A lot of stone properties are the same. A lot are love and protection.
Love, protection,
money.
Let me see
Stuff
my
like
book
that.
if they have Larimar in here.
Healing
Gemstone. Let's see if there's Larimar in this. Let's see, just see what because sometimes it's in there. I'll see if it's in this in my book. This is kind of, I don't know if it'll be in there. Like, how do you spell it? Larimar. All right, so okay, supposed to be the Atlantis stone. Symbolizes boundlessness and immensity. Color ranges from light blue to green. And it's a hardness of 6. Yeah. The reserve of this stone have almost been depleted. Huh, I didn't know that. And it usually comes from Dominican Republic. But I don't know. I thought for some reason it came from somewhere in Montana. Because there were a bunch of U.S. people with that. So anyway, agate is more translucent. Correct, Bonnie. It really is. This one does have a little bit, like this one is kind of, it's not, I wouldn't say translucent, or maybe I would. It has a luminous quality to it. They're really beautiful. Okay, so what's left, daughter?
Silver.
Oh, now it's time for silver.
I know I started with silver and bounced back into gemstones. I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah. Oh, Bonnie, I haven't seen much faceted either. I've seen them in small Larimar in rondelles, faceted rondelles. But to me, I don't know. All right, so this is one of my clasps. This is the moon clasp. I've set it with a sapphire. You can see it on both sides. There it is on that side. And so this is what happens if your clasp flips over, which mine inevitably do. It doesn't matter because it looks good on both sides. So this one is 52. It's sterling silver. It's set with a sapphire. I think of this as a focal clasp because you can use it in the front or the back. So if you're interested in this, I have one. I don't mind. If no one buys this one, I use them in my finished jewelry. But we made extra. So if someone is interested, this is $52. It's $8.73. And we get the price. We weigh it. We weigh the sapphire. And I add on a little bit of extra because of my time in setting it. And it's a little bit more work to make this. And they also sometimes don't come out, just as this will show you. That this was a complete loss. So sometimes it doesn't work out, even when you've been casting for years and years and years. All right. Pat, let me move this candle. One of these times we have a candle like between me and Azalea, and I kept thinking,
There's another one.
Oh, there's two?
Yeah, there's two.
There's two of them.
Different lot numbers because they're different.
They're a little bit different. So one of them has, the stone is a little darker on this one. I think it's a little more blue. It is a magical moon. It is. It is a magical moon. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Oh, let me. I guess I could show you the lot number.
Sorry, you gotta rewrite all those. I thought
It's
it would be
fine.
fine.
It's hard to read the red on the brown on the camera. It shows up like you really have to kind of look at it. All right, this is $52. It's a good, heavy quality, pretty much heirloom quality. If you put that on a bracelet, it's going to look killer. If you put it on a necklace, it's going to be nice. And the best part about this, and the reason I made this, is that I make necklaces like this. So these are my treasure necklaces, and these range from anywhere from $120 is about the cheapest I'll do to around $250, depending on the stones that are on it. Sometimes I put some fancy expensive stones on there. But what I like to do is I will wear my necklace, not all the time where it's like this. Sometimes it's like this. And if you can see, I don't know if it shows up, but the different colors are the different ways in which I can wear it. So one side is kind of like my purple side. The other side is greenish. And if it travels around your neck, sometimes I'll change the position of it. And that's kind of another way to wear your necklace. So you can, if you weight it out where you don't have any one thing that is too heavy, you can have a necklace that can travel all the way around your neck, and the clasp can be on the side of the piece or at the very bottom or like this. So it's kind of a multi, and it can be flipped. So I made this by looking at the moon and looking at photographs of the moon and trying to get as accurate as I could. And that big crater, that's where I set the sapphire. So that one is $8.74. And remember, if you are looking at this on replay, don't put it in the comments. put it in the email. And if you don't hear back from me, it's probably because they sold already. Usually we try to let everybody know and say, hey, those are all sold now. Because, you know, we're only making a few at a time. Yeah, I made it so you could see that. If you don't put the sapphire where there's enough of a hole on the back to hold it in place, you get this story. And this is unfortunate because the sapphire went to this side.
Bonnie commented, if 873 is gone, I'll take 874. You got 873, Bonnie.
There was 2 people that wanted one of those, I think. I saw 2 comments on this. So this one, actually, I set it on this side. Look what happened. It fell through the bead and into this side. Isn't that insane? So anyway, I wasn't selling this one because I was like, it didn't come out perfect. All right, pass me the next one, little daughter. I know that I've made that on necklaces, and all the necklaces I made with that are gone. So this was this piece. I was so sad when this didn't come out because look how good that looks. All right. Oh, Karen is mentioning. So this one came out perfect. Look how perfectly that came out. And on this side, you can still see it. It's in the body of the little butterfly.
Yeah, that's a perfect one, Mom. That one came out really nice.
And it's a little bit heavy. It's a good weight.
This whole round of sapphires, it's so lucky.
Everything came out. It was like this one, all this stuff came out trash. And then these guys came out perfectly. This has a beautiful weight to it. I would say if whoever gets this, you need to give this to somebody that needs an extra boost of like, you know, like healing magic or something, because this is like so perfect for a mala, like a great big, long, beautiful necklace with that. I have just this one. I took a lot of time to make sure I picked the best sapphire for it. It came out great. Sometimes the sapphires, if they have an inclusion, they'll explode. And that's another thing that can happen. In this case, it came out beautiful. This is $70, lot 869. Yeah, this is one, I love it. I would put this with that clear quartz, maybe some black opal in like neutral colors. Could you imagine that? Perfect. Maybe even like hand knotted. You could do a different. So some of the light, the reason I put the hole in the back is so light passes through. That's why I do that. And it also seats that and it doesn't drop the stone. So that is $869, $70.
Okay, we're getting into the
oh, let's do a thing. All right, I'm gonna. Do we have anything that's not part of that? Let me see that one. You want to do that last? My showstopper.
This is your showstopper that's supposed to go last.
All right. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna write these down.
At the very end, I'm gonna show what we still have left. Because that's just how we go.
All right, we're gonna line these up so you can decide.
Here, I can do that fast.
And I'm gonna drop this camera down so we can see them.
Let's arrange it like so.
All right, so you can't really see some of the color in this. They may seem like they're all the same, but they're all a little bit different because some of the stones are not what you call calibrated. Now, calibrated means where if you get a stone that's 4 millimeter, every stone is 4 millimeter. Now, this is why they're not calibrated. Look. They're all a little bit different. None of the stones are the same. The colors are a little bit different. The thicknesses are a little bit different. You can't see it in this. But see how some are a little bit different than others. The thicknesses, the widths. And that's the last of that. I got almost 2 kilos of it when I first bought the set. So this is what I have. And I've gotten some emails about this. I get an email about them every couple of weeks because, you know, they're delightful. And if you remember when we had the Etsy shop, I used to sell the necklaces for $120 with a chain and one of these.
These are gone. 3 left.
So these are the 3 that are left. All right, let me put that out there. So I sold those necklaces very
never mind.
easily.
Put that one back then.
All right. Okay, so 865. Let's see. This one has, they're a slate blue gray on all these sapphires. They are very magical, very beautiful. And I'm putting the price pretty reasonably on that because I usually sell the whole necklace for $120, and I don't have any problem selling the necklace. They don't usually stay very long. Oh, snatched them up. These are really beautiful with labradorite. If you do a labradorite chain with them, or a wire wrapped with opals. One gal, I need to make one of these. I made a wire wrapped piece with rainbow tourmaline, and I sold it a long time ago, but somebody sent me the photo and was like, can you make this for me? And I was like, well, we'll see how many of these I have left. So whoever doesn't get this one will go on that necklace. And I wire wrap them with fine silver. That's my thing that I like to do. And I like to do mixed silver chain. So these are the last two. And if you're interested, you can email me, Greengirlstudios@yahoo.com. Don't drop it in the comment if you're watching in the replay. Oh, Lauren, I love that, on a Native American chain. That sounds good. I have mine on a paperclip chain, and it fits right through here because I made the bail pretty wide, so you could get beads through there. You could get, if you did like a 3mm, say you wanted to do like a 3mm faceted, like round with that. Oh, snatch.
Oh,
Thank you. So there's one left. 865. And that this one has, I think, that's a good one. Look at that sapphire in there. Yeah, I like that one. See, the back is even sparkly. One exploded and I just used it because like a chip blew out at the front, but it was still like such a good color. I went ahead and I put it on my necklace anyway because it kind of, the way it exploded out was like exactly the shape of a stop sign. So I was like, man, that's good. All right, looks like they're all gone, little daughter.
Yep.
Here you go, honey. Now pass me my showstopper. This one, yeah, look at this one. So I've made a couple of these before, and what I like to do is I'll do something different. Like I'll carve different designs on the actual body, so it's not the same as the standard piece that I make. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Well, like this little, so I've decorated her hair a little bit different in this one. You can see the differences. So I doctor them up between each one. So this one has 2 sapphires in the wings. You can have, the light comes through on this side. She has the bail is on the back. It's pretty good size. You could put a nice chain through that. I don't put chain on them unless that's like the last resort. I like beading them. And what I would do with this one is I would put those quartz, those water clear quartz. So let's see the amount. All right. This gal, she's heavy, and she has 2 sapphires. And I went and did a bunch of hand work on the wax. So I gave it a little bit, I charged a little bit more to cover my work.
She's got 2 sapphires.
I'm trying to write this without that thing. Okay, let me see if I can get that to go. So this one is $120. It's $860. The lot is $860. If someone wants to adopt this little delight, this little fairy, she is $120. Now that sounds a lot, but if you felt this, it's a good weight. Nice looking carving. And Bonnie, they do hang better beaded. I agree with you. I would put this on like a cord, probably. Maybe a cord, nylon with, I would knot it because I would not be able to resist hand knotting that with something. I think she's really beautiful. I'm happy with how this came out. And she's the only one. This is kind of a one-off because each one I go into the face and I doctor it up. I gave her a different texture on her body, and her hair has a little bit different design. So even though they're out of a similar mold, they get a treatment where they are a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. If you were to look at the pewter one compared, it is a lot different. All right. Oh, 860. Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate you. All right, I'm going to flip this camera around. All right.
Let's show this first.
Oh, before we do that, Azalea would like to show.
People want to see.
Yeah, you could, Pat, you could use leather for sure, easily.
Wait.
It's big enough where you could use a braided piece very easily. Azalea's gonna write some notes. All right, so this is what everybody got.
Don't mind that Marty Doodle at the bottom. Because Laura Belkin's at the bottom. That's Lola B, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can screenshot yours. And so what we'll do is we will send you an invoice through Shopify. That means you'll get tracking and everything, and it's all documented and easy to find. You don't have to go hunting for it, and we can find it easily. Okay, we're going to go flip the camera. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate, we love seeing all the new faces here. And if you found us through our Tucson adventures, welcome. This is our magic hour, and I hope you enjoyed it. We will have another tutorial. I was totally flattened by this trip. I feel like we just got home, and it was actually on Friday. So we will, Bonnie, we'll look for any of the orders. Just send me an email. We'll do that. Ann says, could you double check and see if I got anything? Azalea, you want to double check that for? What we'll do is we
can show the list again, but that's what the list looks like from today.
I don't see your name on here.
Yeah, we had a busy show today.
We were really busy this time. Thank you. And I'm glad if you didn't get anything, we will have more next week. So keep that in mind. If there's something you were eyeballing, you can send me an email. I'll make extra. But a lot of times we do try to get it where it's like first come, first serve. And if there's anything left, we will let people know. So we'll let everyone know if there's anything else. Oh, thanks, Bonnie. I love these earrings. They're for my birthday. All right.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. You are keeping us in business, and that makes me extra happy. So y'all stay creative. We're going to send out an email this week with some ideas, maybe via, I'm trying to blank, getting kind of tired. So that's coming soon. We'll see everyone next week. We're going to try and do some kind of Zoom for everyone, but look at this.
Ready.
This gal is ready. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Good night.
All right, good night, friends.